Well, hello, good evening and welcome, and thanks for downloading this attempt at something. To give you a wee bit of a lay of the land here, my name's Scott, and I felt that 52 current Celtic podcasts wasn't enough, so I'm hoping to fill that void. So on the line I've got Stevie. Stevie boy, how's it going?
Brand new, mate. Thanks for having me on.
So as I say, we're trying this out. If we can offer something just a wee bit different to the current Celtic pods out there, I'd be happy enough. We're kind of looking to see how we go. We don't have a working title, we've not got a soundtrack yet, no got a logo, not got much, to be perfectly honest. So aside from talking about Celtic, we hope this goes somewhere interesting, somewhere a wee bit different. So thanks to Harper on Hail Media, he's going to host us, I think, tomorrow, or releases, so whenever this goes up. And anybody that listens, I'm going to put a wee tweet out, and I've put something on the huddle board, and hopefully, so I'm looking for people just to give us feedback, just to let us know if we're on the right track, or if we might as well just key up the ghost, because I've done the podcast with the Temple Stand boys a while back, and I enjoyed it, but as I say, I think better has came along since, so we've kind of got to try and find a wee niche for ourselves. So back to the point. So this is Monday night, and it's the day after Celtic's 3-0 win over Albion Oval and Airdrie. Stevie boy, you were there. What's your thoughts?
I thought it was pretty impressive for the manager to put out possibly our strongest team, considering the opposition. In the past, he could have been sort of put out a weakened side, but with the winter break and that, I was quite happy to see him putting out the strongest 11. Thought to begin with we were actually a bit sluggish. I thought Armstrong and Brown in the middle, a couple of stray passes, Gamboa at the right back position. I got a couple of chances to whip the ball in. They were kind of sort of weak efforts, but as the game progressed, we sort of dominated as would be expected. I thought Paddy Roberts done pretty well when he came on, kind of opened them up. Maybe they were tiring at that point. Always good to see Big Dembele get on the score sheet. I think the more goals he gets, the better. It pushes up his price tag. Good to see Sinclair getting back in the goals, and probably the highlight was obviously seeing Kieran Tierney back. And I thought he played pretty well considering he was out, and also with it being the sort of AstroTurf pitch, it's not the easiest of surfaces to play when you're just back from an injury. That sort of maybe in the back of your mind. So overall, happy that we're through. Obviously, happy that he played a strong team, and quite happy that we're going to win the treble, I suppose, at the end of the day.
Oh, that's the hope. I never even thought about what you were saying about the strong team. You look at it and you think maybe a wee bit of sentiment, give Chris Commons a game if he's going to leave and stuff like that. But see, to be perfectly honest, I was going to say it's a no-win game for us, but it gets the boys right back in the mindset, and it's good for the boys who have paid 20 quid like yourself, trooped the line. It wasn't the warmest day of the planet, so I never even thought about it until that you said the other day. But you talk about, we'll talk about a couple of the players for the game, but we'll talk about them in general. Like Paddy Roberts, we've got him till the end of the season. There's indications the manager wants to extend the loan. What's your thinking on Paddy Roberts?
I would be absolutely delighted if the wee man stayed. I think, considering how last season went, it was the shining light. He sort of perked the crowd up when it wasn't really happening for Ronnie. Albeit this season, Forrest came out the traps and kind of put him out of place, a bit similar to Griffiths, I suppose. But there's always room at Celtic Park for players like Paddy Roberts, in my opinion, and I would try my hardest to keep him. It would probably be a guy that I would break the bank to keep, to be honest. I think we're quite strong in other areas, and obviously with the potential money coming in for Dembele, and we've already got a ready-made place, an already made replacement for Dembele domestically anyway with Griffiths. When you look at, he's got 8 league goals and Dembele's got 9 league goals. There's not that much between the two of them domestically. Obviously in Europe you're wanting to progress, but I think Paddy Roberts played pretty well in Europe as well, and he also played pretty well against Rangers when he came on with the defence splitting pass that he put through for Armstrong for the goal. So he's definitely somebody I would break the bank to keep.
Aye.
What about yourself, Scott?
I don't know. I with fear of contradicting myself as I often do, I just don't think he's what we need to know. However, you're bang on the button. When your dad was talking about the football and all that, he wasn't talking about the John Greggs of the world, was he? He was talking about Jimmy Johnson and stuff like. He was talking wingers and that. And I think the older you get, the more you appreciate a wee bit of skill. Somebody's going to take the ball and, well, what is it that guy says the other day? A tan-ball player. I mean, one of the guys, right? So I mean, Paddy Roberts immense. I mean, I don't know. I was kind of put out that he's no played more this year, and I don't know. You've got to think that maybe the manager's thinking, I've got to go with the guys who's going to be here long term. But I mean, I don't know if I'd break the bank for Paddy Roberts the new. If we had everything else in place, then yeah, of course I get what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. But I think there's. I mean, I was delighted to get the boy Abu in. I think defensive midfielder is exactly what we need. I don't know. I can't see it for a start, but I wouldn't be upset with Paddy Roberts. I'll pull you up a wee bit though on the Dembele thing. So do you reckon Dembele's definitely for the off in the summer?
I would reckon if the money came in that was the right offer, then it would be difficult to knock it back. Looking at him, domestically he's got 9 league goals, as I said. Griffiths has got 8, 14 in total. Griffiths 13. Dembele, the difference is obviously his Champions League performances, and although it would be sad to see him go, that if the money that came in from him was 20 plus, then I think. No,
I sorry to interrupt you there. I get the point. If the money's right, everybody goes right. We know that we're selling. We know where we stand. I think that's the fans have kind of grew up to an extent that way, and we know where we are. But would you know, like, if
it's hard. I know what you're saying.
If Dembele's no pushing to go, I don't know, because I don't. I've said this before. I've never had a cut of the 12 million we bring in for players. I'd rather see, and I'm not putting words in your mouth saying that you would. However, I don't know. I'd like to think once in our life we kind of resist for the sake of the good of the team going forward.
I get exactly where you're coming from. I know it's just that sort of money that they're talking about is kind of, it's double really, nearly double what anybody's ever received. Apart from, obviously, was it Chelsea when they get Tony Andrew for? But I think as well, the way we constantly playing Dembele, not constantly playing him, but some games you think, oh, he would maybe bring Griffiths in, and it's if Griffiths scores 30 goals this season, he's going to push his price tag up for the 40 last year or whatever. But if Dembele goes on and scores more and more goals, then his price tag will just keep rising, and I think it'll be hard to resist.
Well, I see your point. I mean, see the boy Guidetti. I know who didn't like Guidetti. I really did. I really like Guidetti. I think well placed arrogance is good in a player. He ended up a bit of a dick. There's no doubt about it. But I say to everybody, and people criticise me, but I thought he had a wee bit of quality that Lee Griffiths didn't when it came to Europe. I thought he had that wee bit, and Dembele is kind of that bit higher, and yet you're bang on the button. Lee Griffiths has had his time in England. He's happy at Celtic. He wants to be a hero at Celtic, and he definitely is a hero. And you'd be fear to lose him by no playing him, wouldn't you? Lee Griffiths. But
just when you look at the goals that he has scored this season, and you're bang on the button there with Guidetti as well. If it wasn't for Guidetti when he played, I think Ronnie Dyler would have maybe been away a lot sooner than what he was. He got Ronnie Dyler out of a hole, maybe similar to the way Stokes got Lennon out of a hole. But then it sort of once they do that bit, they kind of that falls away. I don't know if it's maybe, as you say, arrogance. They might think, oh, I'm Billy Big Boss, and their performance level drops. And you know what it's like with the Celtic fans. It doesn't take much for us to sort of notice if somebody's performance drops.
We're fickle.
But it's a tough one. I would love to say I would knock back 20-25 million for Dembele.
It's a big decision, isn't it?
It's the sort of money where you could possibly, what did we pay for Sinclair? 4.5 million. Could you potentially, would you give up a Dembele to get maybe 4 players of that quality and really improve your team across the board? Again, I put my trust in Rodgers, actually.
That's fair.
Hopefully he's not done much wrong. So if he thinks it's right to sell him, that's the only thing I would say. If Rodgers didn't want him to go, obviously when he want him to go, but if he didn't go with Rodgers' blessing, I would be upset with that, because obviously that would then put the wheels in motion for maybe Brendan's agent to start getting his CV out down there. So as long as it was all right with the hierarchy of the playing squad, then I wouldn't mind them if the big offer came in. Sorry if I'm rambling a lot.
It's bang on. It's bang on what you're saying. Right, I'm going to change tack. I'm going to talk about somebody who hasn't really been talked about of late. Never had much today on Sunday. See, the keeper. I think the keeper has been excellent for the past 3 months or something.
Definitely.
Apart from his maniac kicks when he goes out. But we brought De Vries in to be a keeper who's comfortable with the ball at the feet, and I think Craig Gordon's excelled. Absolutely excelled.
Sorry mate, on you go.
No, crack on.
It's as you say, it probably was the boot up the backside that the big man needed, and it's another thing that Rodgers has been proved to have been quite right by bringing that guy in and just immediately dropping Gordon. There was no, I'll see how it goes. He dropped him, and then he actually gave De Vries a few chances to prove himself, and he knew right away he'd made the mistake. And you just need to compare that to what Pep's doing at Man City. He's went the opposite way, and it's now coming back to bite him in the arse, because their goalie's causing them goals constantly, and he's not willing to change it. Whereas Rodgers realised that he'd maybe made a mistake, and he brought the big man back. And to be fair, the big man, he's been a great signing when you consider that he was a free transfer, brought back to match fitness by Rangers, thanks. So you can't really complain with that. He sort of got one up on name, and then he's been outstanding. Albeit he's had a couple of errors, I thought, last season, but the whole team was poor last season, and he had a pretty poor defence in front of him, so he had no confidence in the likes of Ambrose and that. And when that creeps into your play, then it's difficult, one mistake, and then it just is it confidence. Goalkeepers are a bit like strikers that way. As soon as the confidence starts to erode, then it kind of all seems to come crashing down. But he's done fantastic.
I don't know,
as you say.
He seems you're bang on the button. He seems a more confident keeper in himself by, I don't know, trying these things. I mean, he gets the odd thing right, but as I've said a million times, it's not. It doesn't seem fair that a striker can miss 4 chances and get away with it, and then a goalkeeper makes one mistake and he's the devil. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's exactly it.
He's I think he's great. I mean, the first year he was at Celtic, he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and then last year, same as everybody else, he had a rough time. People are going, he's no long-term answer. But I've got to say, the way he's coming out and he's pinging the ball about and stuff like that, he'll fling the odd one in, he'll come through the wrong guy and get sent off, but I think he's looking great, and I think he's kind of an unsung hero at this point.
Yep, because actually I was just looking through the results, obviously, in 8 games in a row through the 2 months of the season, October, November, which included a semi against Rangers and a final against Aberdeen. We never conceded 1 goal domestically, and there was at points in this season where the media were saying we're ropey at the back, we're dodgy, and
on a slump.
and we're in a slump. And when you actually look at it, we've got the best defensive record in the league, we've got the best goal difference, and Gordon has to take a big part of that, not conceding goals, because ultimately he's the guy that stops the ball getting in the back of the net.
Especially, it's not as if he's had. It's not like the Van Dijk denial day where you had the two centre halves basically there every week. The defence has chopped and changed all season. Samuelievic, Toure, even.
Three at the back, four at the back.
Exactly, the big Belgian coming in, Izagiri coming in for Tierney, Gamboa and stuff. So I mean, it's not as if he's playing in front. I think he deserves a lot of credit for the way the season's went. But
definitely.
Talking about the season, right? So it's gone by this conversation alone. As I said earlier on, we done the Temporary Stand podcast, and a lot of people gave me a lot of good feedback about Temporary Stand, and I think it was because things weren't great. And then the Huns went tits up. That it was brilliant. I mean, everybody was listening, and you had a lot to moan about. But this season, I think the both of us can. It started brilliant. The next step is.
Albeit it didn't when we get beat off your Red Imps, but that's the out.
The only team in Scotland, the only team that beat us this year.
The only team for Britain to beat us.
Sorry, that was
Because Man City never beat us either.
So the season, we're in two competitions left. We've added ourselves a third competition in terms of trying to remain unbeaten. Are we going to get it? Are we going to get the treble?
I reckon we should get the treble, because every team we came up against, the players just seem to rise. We had a sort of tough December, you could say, with the run of games, and we came through it. And the last game of the lot was meant to be the hardest, and I think that's the game we could have absolutely romped it. If we had our finishing boots on that day, the Huns keeper had a great game. Albeit the first 20 minutes we were under the cosh, but we never bottled it. We never buckled. Years ago, Celtic, if that was maybe a Diver team, a Tony Mowbray team, say, you would have been 3-0 down inside 20 minutes. But the players done brilliantly. As soon as they get the goal, there was nothing in it. And to be fair, the goal was coming, because if a linesman could actually be a linesman and know put his flag up when guys on our side, then I reckon Sinclair could have scored when he was through. So it was brilliant, and we've got another run coming up similar to that now with St Johnstone, Aberdeen, Hearts, and I think if we can get through this next sort of month of games unbeaten, then I reckon we can definitely do it. And the treble, I don't even care who we get in the cup, if that matters. Like, normally you used to look out and say, oh, I don't want to get name, and I don't want name, but to be fair, I would take anybody at the moment, and I think that's brilliant, because you don't really get that as much as a Celtic fan.
You've got to say though, going back to the Ibrox one, it's that's the sign of the manager, I felt. I mean, there was we had a confidence in the boys on the pitch, and they had a confidence in our manager that if needed we could have changed that. Because that's no kid or say alone. I got the hard place to go. It used to be with that old team, and it is with this mob. So you've touched on something there that I never thought of. Do you think the wee winter break's been good?
I thought it was definitely good for the fans. To be honest, it was obviously getting into the funds and after Christmas, but for the players to go out to Dubai and the morale's high, then only a week can only do you the world of good. Good to have, I'm pretty sure the wives and that were over as well for the 40s, so everybody gets a good break. And to be fair, like I say yesterday, could have been a potential banana skin, but after the first 20 minutes they picked the game right up. They were never in out yesterday.
Even the first 20 minutes, I didn't think there was.
No, it was just they were more sluggish, and that's testament to how they've been playing for the last sort of 4 months. That you're like expecting them to have the ball, hit the ball running right away. So it was. I think it's a good thing, and I think it should stay in. To be honest.
Aye. I think the only criticism I got at it was the scheduling before and after. I mean, having 9 games in December for us was nonsense. I appreciate the Champions League was in there as well, but now we're coming back to playing Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday. We know. I mean, it's exactly. I was looking at it today, and it's kind of exactly the same as it was in the run up to the winter break.
remember as well, Celtic were to kind of have to blame for some of the fixtures by winning all the time and getting to cup finals.
Well,
and then obviously the Partick Thistle game, which we sort of dinged for a friendly, was it Inter Milan and Limerick?
Yeah, no, I do get that, but I still think there's going to be a wee bit of... I suppose, what can you really do about it? Because we've not got any League Cup fixtures in the second half of the season, so why do we need to come back to 4 games in the space of... But that's just a daft moan, I suppose.
I don't really realise why, especially with Aberdeen on a Wednesday night at home. That's ideal, sort of big game on a Saturday.
Aye.
But again, Aberdeen fans, that same screwed, come in on a Wednesday night, fucking back up the road.
Usually I would feel for them, but the way they've been getting on recently, I can screw them.
Aye. Fair enough. Aye.
I think that'll do us for a wee part one. We'll stick a musical interlude of some type in here, and we'll jump on to part 2 in a minute. Okay, so welcome back. I hope that wee tune was good, whatever it was. So last week, to give a wee bit of background to it, a former chairman of Mirren, Stuart Gilmore, he went on to Sports Sound Radio Scotland and upset a lot of Celtic fans and gave a Daily Record a back page exclusive and stuff. Basically, to give you a premise of what happened, he claimed that he felt Peter Law had far too much sway in Scottish football. Other clubs outside of Celtic, and even Rangers, I think he was talking about, are scared to challenge him because they'll be shot down and whatever. And ultimately, he finished off with, he felt Scottish football needed Rangers strong again to succeed. So, Stevie, I think to carry on, it then was revealed that even though they were talking about the SPL TV, they're now looking at an SPFL TV to maybe start again and try and replace the Sky and BT Sports deals. Stevie, recently, in the past couple of years, I'm led to believe you kind of contacted somebody about this before and got a wee breakdown about SPL TV. So could you give your opinion on Stuart Gilmore and basically what info you'd got?
I think Stuart Gilmore just sounds like a guy. Sure Grapes springs to mind. His team, the team that he was in charge of, are currently in free fall in the first division, and he's looking for a scapegoat to try and take the heat off himself. I think with his own fans or with his own whoever he interacts with on a daily basis. The fact that he's coming out with statements like Peter Lawwell runs Scottish football, so he's Peter Lawwell should be one of the main players in the running of the game. He's running the most financially astute club probably maybe in Britain, if you look at the money that we get in, the money we make. So if you don't want guys like that involved in the running of your game, then I don't know what you would want. With regards to the TV situation, I spoke to everybody's favourite Aberdeen fan, Ali Begg, last year, a year and a half ago, when there was talk about SPFL TV, and it was a bit of an eye-opener with what Ali had to say when it came to the actual cost associated with running not just the channel but just the actual game. And what he said was, for the minimum of 5 cameras to cover a game, you're talking about roughly 25 to 30 grand alone per game. And for 12 cameras, when he was with Setanta, it was 60k a game, and that was 10 years ago. So I could only imagine that'll be even more than what it was 10 years ago. So if you're looking at an SPFL TV, you're looking at quite a high subscription fee month to cover that, or you're looking at somebody coming in to just kick it off and no really look for any return, or no look for an immediate return in their financial backing. So it's quite a daunting thing to. It's easy enough for everybody to say, I'll set up my own channel or set up your own channel and let's do it ourselves. But financially, would it work? I don't think so, especially with all the streaming out there. What you would probably need is a backer like BT, a sole backer, rather than the current setup with Sky and BT. One channel to sort of have even a dedicated BT Sports Scotland channel or something that runs for the weekend, with quality debates rather than your usual Hugh Keevins phone-ins, and it also covers all fans, which I think they've been pretty good with covering other teams, sort of still covering Hibs and Dundee United when the BBC and that really couldn't give a toss about the Championship anymore because there's no Rangers in it. So I think it would be tough to go alone going with the figures. But then again, if everybody sees that there's money getting put back into the game through a subscription, maybe they would pay £20-25 plus a month. I don't know. Would you think, Scott?
Nah, I don't see it. I don't see it. You've kind of hit the nail on the head with regards. It's an extreme outlay for Scottish football. Me and you had spoke about this before, and I think BT did a good job. BT, I don't know if they've looked at an alternative type of colour commentary or opinion at half time and full time. So they've got Chris Sutton in, and like Chris Sutton, hate Chris Sutton, whatever you think, even if he's been a wee bit, what's the word, just try to be controversial for the sake of being controversial.
Yeah,
he's given talking points. I remember watching BBC do the highlights at about 12 o'clock at night, and they've got Stevie Thompson sitting there going, aye, no, aye, and it's nonsense. It's nonsense. You don't want to listen to a football player, a current football player, giving you the same old dross, telling you, aye, he's a good teammate and all that. You want opinions. I'm not a hater of Hugh Keevins and stuff. I just think they've got themselves into the situation where they've got to say crap things on the radio to get people to phone in, instead of actually giving their opinions. So you've got guys like Michael Stewart, you get guys like Chris Sutton, even the boy Craig, and I don't think he's great, but still he backs himself up, he says what he feels. I think BT do a great job at it. With regards to SPL TV, you're on the button. If there's no major investment in somebody to push this forward, it's gone nowhere. It's absolutely gone nowhere. You'll get a substandard product. If you get a substandard product, you can't charge somebody 15-20 quid for it. You just can't do it. Especially the price of Sky goes up and up and up, and if you've got Sky then you want BT. And then, as you say, the next step is it's streams, isn't it? People just go on streams. Everybody's using streams now. So
and who can blame them? And you see the money in football when it goes to players. Really, you're paying 20-25 quid a month, and the deals. There's only really been two people that benefited for Sky, and that's football players and football agents. Nobody else has really benefited for this. Should you say grassroots? I don't see any great money getting spent in grassroots football. Andy McLaren was on the other week talking about it on Clyde, saying how much it costs, and he does a great job trying to make it free for kids and stuff like that. So until if you're going to buy something like that for a rotten product, you would need something to go back to grassroots, I think, for people to see if it was worthwhile. You try and get the national team better, but then not a lot of people are bothered about them, I suppose.
But mate, even then, I think you've got to be different now. You can watch the English Premier League, you can watch the German League, which I like to watch, you can watch the Spanish League, you can even watch the Dutch League and the French League.
Aye,
right, so
sorry about that.
So you've got the Italian League, you've got all these things on the telly. So as I've said before, you've got to give something. The whole point German football, in my opinion, was attractive to fans like myself and TV companies and stuff, is the grounds were full, the fans were happy. That's a starting place. Whereas in Scotland we've got empty grounds, we're charging too much for football, the football isn't great, and we're trying to sell it to these TV stations. What incentives are they going to give us millions of pounds for that?
No.
For football that our fans won't even go and watch. So,
no.
So they should, in my opinion, again, they should break it all down, break it right down at the beginning, fill the stands, get these stands full, make people enjoy it. Stop treating football fans like scumbags. As soon as you start filling it up, there'll be more people want to come and play in the league because it looks good. I mean, I listen to so many shows and they talk about the English, the Spanish players coming to England, and they love the atmosphere because the stands are full. And fair dues, their stands are even empty now because it's getting a wee bit pricey. Bring a price down to suit the fans, make it enjoyable to come, fill the stands, and then once for 4 years of that down the line, go back to a company and go, here's what we're making, this is what you can make off of us, rather than going to help us. And
that's a great point.
Ultimately, SPFL TV isn't going to work. It's getting rebranded after the last attempt by, as you rightly said earlier on, out of date chairman. Guys, I mean, just I don't know that they're looking at. We should, if we're going to do it, we should be looking at BT all the way and trying to get them to build the league with us rather than.
Because that's the thing as well. BT are absolutely massive, right? Because they don't just deal with TV, they deal with infrastructure, they deal with the phone lines and stuff like that. They're a massive company, and if you've got them on side and they can see value in our game, then it's win-win. Sky have treated us like mugs for years, ever since we decided not to use them. I think Rupert Murdoch's not the sort of guy that lets things lie, if you know what I mean, if that's the right term that I'm trying to use.
Apt using lie with him.
Aye, so, but the thing with I can't remember. Sorry mate, I fucking lost what I was going to say there. Sorry man.
But you're saying, going back to Ibrox, again, you were at the game, I watched it on Sky, and I turned it over. I had it recording anyway, and I turned it over to, I can't remember what I was doing, but 10 minutes passed, and I turned it back, rewound it, started playing it, and sure enough, I get 10 minutes. They spoke to Scotty Sinclair, never spoke to Brenny Rodgers. So, I mean, I was listening to Celtic Underground the other week, and Harry made a great point. You're getting 10 minutes off of Sky, and because the BBC are banned for publishing whatever you say, you don't get any interviews after the game off of them either. So there's the biggest game in Scotland. Incidentally, talking podcast, Celtic Underground's last podcast with Mark Cooper, got on it, really good. It was really good. A different opinion about the Old Firm game and how we sell it. It's really interesting. I'd recommend you go and watch it. But anyway, back to the point. And it was just so frustrating. I mean, you're sitting there, they've put this game, our biggest game of the season in terms of going away to Ibrox, and they've stuck it on a crap day and they've not covered it properly. It's nonsense, absolute nonsense.
Just sums Sky up, doesn't it?
Well, it sums up Sky's opinion. I think you're right about Rupert Murdoch. I think they've kind of went, who you train? I mean, I was talking away to somebody.
Would you do a deal with Neil Doncaster? Just walk into the office and look at him and say, "Fuck him." He's an absolute shambles. Yeah, a chairman.
Here's my
chief executive.
Sorry, mate. Carry on.
No, on you go, mate.
Here's my opinion on Neil Doncaster, right? Here's my opinion. Neil Doncaster used to be in some role at Norwich, and he applied for the job of the when it was the SPL. So this guy came in, and he's looking at progression, and this is a bigger job. I'm in a part of a national structure of Scotland, right? And it's a job to him. And we were in a midden before the Huns went tits up, and then the Huns went tits up, and he was proclaiming doom to everyone. He's can't let this happen. It'll be Armageddon and all this stuff. And I don't blame him for having that position, because all it is to him is a job. It's not the same to him as to me and you. He doesn't look at it with a bit of passion. He looks at it as, if they go tits up and they go out the league, my job's going to be stinking trying to get sponsors for this league. So
he can even get sponsors.
Well, that's the point, right? So I don't really blame him for wanting that, because he's an Englishman in Scotland with no real passion for our football. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I can understand, but even as a businessman, even if you can't get a sponsor, you go to a charity and you say, right, we'll give you free sponsorship to the league or something. Something to give them a name, and then sorry, go back.
No, so we're kind of, I don't mean that. I mean, you're right. See what you're saying there, bang on the button. Absolutely bang on the button. But with regards, as I say, when everybody kind of says, because you try to keep the Huns in the league, and I can understand where they come from. I don't agree.
If you're a money man,
you want them in.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? But see the day that he sat down, and I don't know if your man Reagan was involved as well. See the day that somebody sits in and goes, right, we're going to rearrange Scottish football. We're going to make it the Premiership and the Championship. I'd open the door and say, just get out. I can't believe it. There's one place in the world where Scottish football should not be looking, is the English League. We shouldn't be touching. We should be looking at every other league apart from the English League.
I know, it's
because they're so. And that chump comes up with the Championship, and I was like, this is a joke. This is an absolute joke. And
League 1 and League 2 as well. We went to full hog.
Exactly. We've got the Vauxhall Conference for the juniors. You know what I mean? I'm way about Neil Doncat. I think he's a chump. But
same as Reagan. Two of them incompetent.
The SFA, the day they kind of let Campbell Ogilvie run the place is just a shambles. I mean, he's so tainted. Even Rangers men must kind of go, how did he stick a job? Know what I mean?
But even Gordon Smith got the gig because he was what?
It's nonsense.
Because he had a degree or something like that, wasn't it? That was the thing that was spouted. But the thing I know with the SFA is that Paul Larkin guy saying he's anyone but Celtic. Like it's not even as if all of them are Rangers men. It's just an inherent hatred of Celtic and Catholics ultimately. And everybody always proclaims it's a West of Scotland problem, but far from it. And it's a shame. It's not a shame actually. It's a disgrace that it actually gets swept under the carpet as banter in this country.
You kind of hope we're down the line though that the next generation, it shouldn't be happening. Do you know what I mean?
The only thing I would say about that is because how such a mess that they're in, you end up getting militant elements. If you know what I'm saying, like because of that shit and because the Catholics are taking over. And the only reason the Catholics are taking over is because nepotism and getting the mad boy will get this job, and then him thinking that he had a job for life, and then other bosses saying, well, hold on a minute, he's fucking useless, and us being the way we are trying to get jobs, they'll end up, I reckon you could end up with a kind of militant element here. And the day after the independence vote showed that there still is a kind of hardcore
that undercurrent there, and I don't think you're ever kind of going to break that for a long time. I mean, that was basically an Orange Order led thing, wasn't it, that day?
100%. And the thing is, with politicians are shit scared to get Labour guys that are scared to say anything against them, and because they didn't want to break the union, and it's shit the way it all went, especially with Labour. But at least saying about politics are better, I would imagine.
Aye. But I think that kind of covers that part of it again, so we'll maybe finish up part 2 and we'll do a wee part 3 just coming up. So, welcome back, part 3. This will be our final part. I hope you've stuck with us. If you haven't, as I say, let us know why you haven't stuck with us and why we're talking rubbish. So, we're going to Gaff Celtic and Gaff Scottish football for a wee bit, and I'm going to ask you, Stevie, the Chinese Super League. It's causing chaos for English people. I mean, the rest of the world seems to be laughing a wee bit about it, but the English seem to be taking it as a personal affront to them that these guys are taking their players. What's your opinion on it?
Well, with regards to the Premiership, I kind of see it as the way possibly you see maybe forms of technology where they have a sort of 20-year shelf life until something newer and better comes along. And the way it is with the Premiership, money talks, and there's now maybe no better, there's definitely a newer league paying better money, and not just better money, far better money. So I've not really got any sympathy for the English Premiership, but I don't think it will last in China, purely down to the actual. I've been to China, funnily enough. I've been to Beijing. I was there 15 years ago, and I can tell you, walking off the plane was one of the most bizarre things I've ever felt. The smog, the way it hits you, it's like a dry sauna heat. And this was before, well, they're kind of industrial, their revolution as such, just at the beginning of it, and apparently it's only get worse. And I think the biggest one that they'll need to worry about in a few years possibly America, because America will be able to offer them decent money, but America will also offer them and their families a standard of living that you probably won't get in China. The sort of British lifestyle, America, if you know what I mean, no, like it'll be speaking in English, everything's English, and then I think in a few years they'll need to worry more about America than they will China. Just wonder what you think about that, Scott. It's
something I thought about. What America is getting rid of now is they've still got that draft system. However, they've got designated players, as you know, and every year it seems to get more and more. You can have 3, you can have 4, you can have 5, and there's a big disparity still in America from your top earners to your run-of-the-mill guys. I think America's got to sort that out before they'll come anywhere near, because they can't just. There must come a point where they can't keep signing just big names, because America's, as you well know, a very, very proud nation, and I don't think they'd be content with a league that's just full of foreigners. I don't think.
I suppose that's a great point, actually.
I can't see that happen.
Apparently, the Chinese guys just put in there, was it last week?
Yeah, that's right.
The free foreigner rule, and they reckon that'll actually impact more on Australian players and stuff like that, because it used to be, was it 4 Asian players something that used to be allowed, and now it's actually no non-Chinese players, so they reckon that'll have an impact on them.
I don't know. The Chinese thing, personally, I'm like you say, I doubt it. The reasons you give are a wee bit different. I was just thinking, basically, you've got a communist country who decided one day we want to be good at football, so here's a big wad of money, go and make us good, and all these millionaires and billionaires have all started going mental and buying everybody and anybody. I mean, the numbers, I can't blame it. It might sound like greed for somebody, however, I can't blame anybody in the world who would go there for that money. I mean, it's obscene, but I would never grudge anybody. I mean, a football player plays for what, probably gives up his life for about 12 years. A guy at the top, bearing in mind, no your typical, sad to say, your typical British guy who kind of wants to make it big at 18 and start drinking. And I'm talking about these guys like Gareth Bale. Look at Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale's a machine. Doesn't smoke. He's totally committed his life to football, and he's getting his rewards for it. And so this guy is probably basically hasn't had a proper life for about 11 years old, and every day, everything's about training, everything's about being the maximum he can, and he'll probably play. I reckon Gareth Bale will probably play at his late 30s, the way he's gone, right?
Definitely.
So you play, and then so the way he's lived his life, you've got to imagine he's got 30 years left on this planet at least 30, another 30, right?
Aye.
Probably 50, but anyway, another 30. And
touch wood, Gareth.
Exactly. Like 2016 will come and get him. So this guy's going to live, right? And I understand people say, what's the difference between making 5 to making 10? I don't blame them, but in terms of long term, I don't see Japanese football 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, had a similar type. We'll bring in these big names, Gary Lineker, blah blah blah, and
exact same. They rebranded the league.
Exactly, the J League and stuff. So I've got my.
They're actually adding leagues right enough, Japan. When you look back, they've added a few more like professional leagues, but it's went back to bringing through Japanese players.
Where is it went? No, the Japanese league. I mean, what standard?
I just mean is that they obviously started with a J League, and then I've got a J1 and a J2. But it's when you see what you're saying, they're no actually. It's no the big names that's coming in, and probably the same way what you say with America. Football fans tend to like it when it's local players, and if it's young guys coming through, and there's only so much you can take bringing in players, and fans will start getting. If I was a fan of some of these teams and the wages they were getting, it would piss you off.
It's easy to bite back at a big earner though, isn't it? It's easier to kind of go, screw you. I mean, because Tevez is. Let's be honest with Tevez. Tevez is a bit of a scumbag in terms of if he doesn't like something, he's out, or he just drops tools, and it's just. He's not good. He's not got any loyalty to any team, so why should you show him any loyalty? And then as well with these guys over there, they would just be fucking out of there like two Bob Rockets. That's it. I mean, how many times?
And will they get paid as well? Could they end up like another Turkey
or Russia?
They go over there. How are they really getting paid? And it's not as if the government's going to go over and say give him his wages. The Chinese will just tell him to get the fuck.
So you were in China 15 years ago?
2000, so 17 years ago, 16 and a half years ago, July 2000 I was over.
So they got you and we got Dewey.
Aye, that's it. I was starting in the Great Wall of China with the Yera NTL away strip. That's what I was wearing actually. With my Charlotte Hornets game hat on.
Brilliant.
Never had anybody try to steal it. Wasn't as bad as Argyle Market and Argyle Street when the post over about.
Aye. Okay, mate. I think that's been alright. I mean, anything else you want to add?
No. Sorry if I've been rambling on and getting a bit lost with what I've been saying.
What about it? Your first time being famous.
Well, I suppose if you don't include my pseudonym. Famous for all the wrong reasons.
He's just flagging that in there, aren't you?
No, that's better not be alive.
Okay, mate. Right, so thanks for coming on, Stevie. I've enjoyed it.
No worries at all, mate. Thanks for having us.
And we'll see what the feedback's like. If people like us, we'll maybe get a go next week or a couple of weeks or something. And
definitely, mate.
Alright, dude.
Take care, mate.
See you later.
All the best.
Cheers.
Thanks very much, mate. Bye bye.
Thanks for listening, everybody. See you later.